Mr. Morrice, you have the floor for 2.5 minutes, please.
Well, thank you, Chair, and thanks to the committee for that. I want to start by sharing in my community, as I've shared with the minister before, homelessness has not gone up by 12%. It's gone up by 300%. Our last point-and-count study in 2018 was just over 300 people. And 2021, that same point-and-count study led to over 1,000 people. And so I wonder if I could ask for a document to be tabled from officials with this 12% figure, if that could be tabled to the committee. Yep, great, thank you. Secondly, I want to just follow up on a question I asked of the minister on Monday night with respect to definitions, because the definition of affordability is very important. In fact, one of the recommendations from the Auditor General, 5.62 on page 33, take the necessary steps to align the definitions of affordability for all initiatives so that they are consistent, recognizing that for the co-investment fund, for example, the definition being used is not 30% of income, it's this 80% of market rent. And it's only 30% of the units have to be 80% of market rent. And so my question is, if the minister would commit, or if actions have already been taken because the report came out back in November, to aligning the definitions as the Auditor General called for, and ideally for that definition to be the 30% income definition and not this 80% of market rent.
So I think before I turn it to the officials, different programs have different levels of affordability attached to them because they target different people. So when you look at, for example, the Rental Construction Financing Initiative, that's the program that talks about 80% of market, whereas co-investment fund is explicitly talking about 30% or less of household income.
Okay, thank you. So if that's the case, Minister, do you disagree with the recommendation from the Auditor General?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair, for the question. So we do have one definition of affordability under the National Housing Strategy, and it is 30% of household income spent on housing. When it comes to affordability requirement on our specific program, it is a function of, as Minister stated, who we're supporting, as well as the way that the program has been constructed between contributions and loans. Our DBEST program is the Rapid Housing Initiative. That is 100% contribution, and it is a function of the requirement of affordability is based on 30% of income.
And so last, Minister, at a time when homelessness is tripling and the Auditor General is saying to use one consistent definition, would you not agree that it would be best to ensure that all funds go to the lowest income people who need those funds the most?
Well, the question suggests that, for example, then we shouldn't purposely build rentals for police officers, for paramedics, for teachers, people who are being increasingly priced out of our rental markets in the cities that they work in. So we have to have a national housing strategy that, yes, focuses a lot on the most vulnerable, but we also need more rental supply. And part of our CFI is about doing that and building more rental supply, and also putting some affordability there, not as deep as, for example, the Rapid Housing Initiative. So you have to have a national housing strategy that meets the needs of Canadians in different parts of the housing spectrum. It's difficult to say that, people who work in our cities who are being priced out of the rental market also don't need help with rentals, and that's what we're trying to do.
Mr. Morrice, I'm afraid that is the time.
To table a document?
Pardon me?
Just to table a document related to this question?
Sure, if you want to ask about a document being tabled, I'll allow that, but not a question. So, not an additional question, but go ahead.
Thank you for your generosity. If I could just have a list of any projects that have been funded through the National Co-Investment Fund that did not meet the definition of requiring 80% over the next 20 years. 30% of units need to be 80% market rent. Any list of projects funded that do not meet that definition over the coming 20 years?
We will provide that. And short answer, it's part of the design of the program. It is a requirement.
Très bien. Merci beaucoup.